All right, so in this lesson, we're going to be answering some questions regarding creating unique content for clients. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is understanding the company well. And in this one, I'm going to discuss more on the State Farm Kelly Clarkson project that I did. It's for a campaign called Celebrate My Drive. And now this campaign had already been running for some time, and so this was bringing kind of to a close a bunch of different things that they had wanted to do. So and the agency that I worked with approached me to bid on the project and then to come up on a way to execute these ideas. So when it was first proposed, it was going to be 6 to 7 short branded content pieces. Each one dealing with something slightly different. So we had basically 2 scenarios. One, Kelly in a recording studio, and one, her driving the car that I spoke about in the previous lesson. And each of these would have their own themes. One was her answering social media questions. Another one would be sharing her own driving experiences. So the very first thing that I'd have to do is do the research to become as much of an expert on the company. Now, when we're talking about marketing campaigns, a company like State Farm has several different marketing campaigns going at the same time. They've got a branded content division going on, which is primarily online strategy, things that are going to only be seen online or through a Roku or something like that. Then they have obviously a commercial division and different companies involved in executing this. So when I start to look at it, I start to look at what are the colors, the State Farm colors. They have a certain red, they have a white. Who are they looking at here for this campaign? What is the age group? And for this campaign, it was primarily high school students. Because at the end of the campaign, not only could the target audience get a grant for their high school, they can also have Kelly Clarkson and her band perform at their high school. So that brings me to understanding campaigns and the target market. So that, you know, if I had taken this concept and suddenly it was like trying to identify suburban mothers, that's not really what they're looking at here. They were looking at how do we make this fun? How do we make it appeal to our target audience, which is high school students, for that campaign? And so your headspace needs to be there. You have to know what they're expecting and be on board with that. It sounds obvious, but a lot of times I see people try to make it too broad to appeal to too many different groups that are just way off the mark. So you need to identify where you're going with this. And then the next thing that I would do is identify what has worked well in the past for the company. You can do this. There are sites that have advertisements and marketing campaigns and different materials from different campaigns in the past. So this could be everything from print media to commercials on television to in-person at the shopping mall kinds of things. You can even go to a State Farm office and take a look if that was the company. Just so you really understand where their headspace is and what's working well. And on the flip side of that, I think it's very important to be honest and find out what's not working well in your mind. Doesn't mean you're gonna bring that up, but it's something that helps you build a better product at the end of the day, because you can see where other people have stumbled and hopefully make it a little stronger. So what you're really looking to do here is you don't want to reinvent the wheel, you just want to make that chrome shine a little bit. So on this campaign, the agency gave me these concepts. They were written out. I had a whole brief about it. And then it was to how can we just raise the stakes a little bit on this, make sure there's a story there, and make the whole campaign and what we were going to try to do for the budget stand out. The flip side of all this is watching the client's competition. This is something that I believe in doing just because it broadens your expertise and knowledge of what the business is that the brand is in. So for this one, it's obviously insurance. It's an insurance business. So it makes sense to go and see what Geico is doing and what all these other people are doing out there. It just gives you a foundation on which to knowledgeably talk and discuss with not only the agency, but when you do meet the representatives from the client, that you are aware of what they are facing. So you know, for example, in this campaign, it comes down to production design or costume wardrobe. You don't want blue. Blue's another company's color. So we're talking about keeping things in a palette that works well with what your brand is aiming for. So now to create that unique concepts and to bring it to the next level, you have to get creative. So we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but it begins with brainstorming, taking the concepts. If you have a concept or a script that's given to you, looking at it, if it's 100% perfect, and that's great. I always think it's good to jot down ideas or notes or little things that may come up on set, because things do change. Things change on set, they change throughout the whole process. So you should be prepared, and that works from feature films to commercials to short films or whatever. You just want to have options when you're talking to people and you're on set and they're saying, I don't really get what I'm saying here. Well, boom, you already have alternatives down, ready to go. Or you're not forcing yourself into a corner. You've already thought through a few different scenarios that the client wants something different. You don't have to just think on your feet. You've already thought it through. It makes you come across more professionally. The to-do for this lesson is going to be, what I want you to do, should be a fun one, because this is really motivating and starting to get to the next level here, which is write 5 different concepts that you believe will fit into the local company that you identified in the previous chapters that you really want to work with. I want you to write 5 concepts for them. And then you're going to end up picking the top 2, so that you have to be really honest. You can share them with your friends, other colleagues, and find out what's strong and what's not working so much. And make sure that it fits into the marketing strategy that you've researched in the previous lesson, so that you're right there, but you're just tweaking it just a little bit to take it to the next level.